So I'm obviously going to spend most of my talk today demonstrating jamovi, but before we get started, I just want to prime you into thinking about jamovi in a particular way. So yes, jamovi is a fully self-contained desktop application, but it's also a web application accessible from the web browser. So rather like Studio, we come in three flavors: a desktop version, a server Docker container version, and a public cloud version. Um, and so the cloud version is actually running at cloud.jamovi.org. So if you get bored during this talk, or perhaps even interested, you can head over there and take a look. Um, I'll be demoing the desktop version today, but I'm actually far more excited about the web version. To sort of give you a quick taste of what we're doing with the web version, here's jamovi embedded inside an R Markdown document. And here it is embedded inside JTOS, a psychology experiment web service. And so a lot of what we're on about is facilitating these interactions. But the emphasis of today's session is on being a GUI for R. So I guess that's what I'll talk about. So this is what jamovi looks like. You'll notice that we're very unashamedly a spreadsheet. But as you'll see, what we've tried to do is we've tried to make it very easy to mix and match spreadsheet and R programming concepts. And that'll hopefully come clear to you as I demonstrate. So it's probably easiest if I start with a example data set. And so we use these tabbed sort of interface. So, we've got the variables tab, which gives people an overview of the columns in their data set. We've got the data tab, and this includes a range of data and transformation type procedures. So you can recode data, you can compute new variables, you can even filter out rows and things like that. Coming over to analyses, uh, we've got a range of analyses available. So under exploration, of course, we've got descriptives, we've got t-tests, ANOVAs, under the linear regression, frequencies, factor analysis, etc. And of course, if jamovi is missing something you need, you can always come over to the jamovi library and find it there. So the jamovi library is a bit like CRAN or CRAN for jamovi. It contains a whole list of additional modules that you can install to provide jamovi with more features. So what I'll do now is I'll install this one here, the RJ editor, and this allows us to run R code directly inside jamovi. And so you'll see now that's complete. It's created this additional icon here. But let me come back to that. First up, I just want to run some descriptives. And so what I can do is I can just pop things from the left over to the right like this. Maybe I want some frequency tables. Maybe I want a box plot or box plots. Yep. Really, this is more of an ANOVA data set. So maybe let me run one of those. And again, I'll just pop things from the left over to the right. Maybe I'll plot some estimated marginal means while I'm here. But the order here is not quite right, so let me just reorder them. Yep, that's looking good. So now I'm here, let me just show you our first R trick. What I can do is I can come up here to the syntax mode, and you can see what that does is it creates this little block of R code at the top of each analysis. So I can take this, I can copy it, and then I can come over to RStudio, and I can paste it in here like this, and let me update the data set we're using. And so if I run that, you'll see that I get exactly the same analysis and the same plot and everything. So yeah, so that's quite nice. So we've tried to make it really easy for people to be able to run their analyses and then move over to R if that's what they're wanting to do. So that's the syntax mode. Lastly, down the bottom here, I've got this option to save the residuals. So I'll save those. If I come back here, you'll see that this has created an additional column in the dataset called residuals. What I'll just quickly do is I'll come back up to these descriptives and let me pop these out. And then I'm going to pop the residuals in there like that. Now let me come back down to the ANOVA. Now let's think about it, right? This is a spreadsheet. So let's have a think about what needs to happen if I change this value here. So what I'll do is I'll just change this value to something silly, 1,000, so that the change is really clear, and hit enter. And so hopefully what you're seeing is that the ANOVA is updated. And then because the animator updated, it writes new sets of residuals to this column here. And then because the residuals changed, the descriptives responded to that. So the descriptives have recalculated, and yeah, you can see row 9 corresponds to this outlier here. And of course I can come back down here, I can undo my change, and we're back the way we were. So that is the spreadsheet side of things. Now what I want to show you is the R side of things. So I'm just going to start with a new data set. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete these 3 place marker columns. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to run RJ editor class. Let me just shift this over here and shrink this up. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to read in a data set from the internet using the Rio package. You can probably tell I've got one of those mechanical buckling spring keyboards. Okay, and here we are. We've read in the cars data set. And so, you know, I can go on and I could run a linear regression if I wanted. Maybe I'll look at miles per gallon as a function of horsepower. But of course, I can run exactly the same analysis in R. So let's do that now. So again, let me just bring miles per gallon and horsepower across. And then I'm going to go model. I'll define my model using the LM function. What do we say? Miles per gallon as a function of horsepower. And let's run that. And so when we do that, we get this 30.08989 for the intercept, and we're getting the same results. Actually, let me put on the show code and output so we get the code as well. What else can I do here? Oh, well, maybe I want to save the predicted values from the model back to the data set. If I run that, you can see that's what we're doing there. And, you know, we can do any sort of R stuff we might want to do here. So maybe we want to plot the predicted values against the residuals of the model, like so. And that's what we get. But yeah, but that is the sort of the R side of things. And hopefully you can see that we've tried to make it as easy as possible to be able to mix and match the concepts from both the spreadsheet and from R. And that's basically my talk today. If you want to learn more about developing modules for Jamovi, we've got great tutorials at dev.jamovi.org, and we've got a great community, so we'd love for you to come and join us. Thanks.